And while Julian Assange fights his extradition abroad, right here at home, a really unlikely bipartisan coalition of lawmakers is now urging President Biden to drop the criminal case against the WikiLeaks founder. It's a rare moment of bipartisanship in the midst of a historically unproductive Congress. In a letter to the president, the group of 16 lawmakers, including Ilhan Omar, Rand Paul, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Marjorie Taylor Greene, call the prosecution of Assange unnecessary. They go on to warn that the case risks criminalizing the work of the free press. Joining us now is one of those lawmakers, Congressman Matt Rosendale. Congressman, thanks for coming back on the show with me this morning. You're pressing the Biden administration to withdraw Julian Assange's extradition request. So is it your belief that he should go on as a free man?
It is, Markie. What we saw was a lot of information that came out that showed that, quite frankly, our United States military was doing some things that they should not have been doing, specifically some of the attacks that took place and a lot of the other information that Julian Assange has exposed to people around the world. And the powers that be don't like to be exposed. They don't like the daylight. I find it fascinating that we're having this discussion right now at the exact same time that the United States Congress is trying to reform the FISA legislation and pass the resolution. There's a lot of.
Is there nothing he did, though, that you thought was?
There's a lot of surveillance that takes place on American people in complete violation of our Fourth Amendment rights. And there's a lot of things that quite frankly, the military does that the American people are not aware of. And if there's not people like Julian Assange out there who are willing to expose it, then it perpetuates the problems.
A lot of people saying he acted as a journalist, a whistleblower. Do you wish he had shared that information in a different way, though? I mean, is there nothing he did or shared that you saw as a risk to national security or American lives?
I think the greatest risk to our national security is for our government to operate in darkness. That's what I think is the greatest risk to our national security. And when our government is allowed to go out and conduct their affairs without abiding by the Constitution, without any oversight whatsoever from Congress or the American people, that is when we start having major problems. We had 278,000 cases of the FBI violating their own surveillance laws. And we're trying to reform the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which by its very definition says it's supposed to be used for surveilling foreigners. And it is being turned on American citizens to the extent that Catholics practicing their faith in a Latin mass or parents going into a school board meeting can't even testify without having the FBI conduct surveillance on them. Something is dramatically wrong. And when someone like Julian Assange exposes all of this, whether it's within our surveillance community or whether it's within our United States military, wrongdoings by them, then he should not be prosecuted.
Congressman, let me ask you about this letter, because I'm running out of time here. I want to talk about this bipartisan letter. It has some big names on both sides of the aisle: Marjorie Taylor Greene, AOC, Ilhan Omar. Do you find it odd, though, that these are some of the same names calling Presidents Biden and Trump a security risk for leaving classified documents in their garages and their closets? And now they're asking for this.
I think what shows, Markie, is that you have a true bipartisan commitment in Congress to say that the United States government should not be conducting surveillance on us, and their actions should be open to the public.
Well, Congressman Matt Rosendale, I have to leave it there, sir, but thank you for your time. We'll be following this letter and your request quite closely. Thank you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.